Good morning and welcome to the market report from IG, the 15th of June 2012. Overnight we did see risk assets looking very strong actually, to be honest. We saw a lot of people looking to close out some of those shorts. Some of the investment banks we speak to have been reporting some quite aggressive short covering, especially in euro and Aussie dollar in the last few days. Very much what we saw was a tale of two halves. Very much everyone was focused on what was happening in Spain. We saw the Moody's downgrade yesterday and we saw yields on the 10-year really reacting to that in Spain. We saw the 10-year pushing up to 6.99, although it did come back a little bit and settled at 6.91. So that was a source of concern, but everywhere else it seemed to be pretty good. We saw Italian yields actually seeing some decent buying. We saw 3 different Italian bond auctions coming out quite strong, the bid to cover increasing there. Then we saw rumour mongering really coming across the market. Now there does seem to be a growing sense that the New Democracy, the pro-bailout party in Greece, will poll quite well. If you look at Intrade, who are a political betting site, they now see a 74% probability that the New Democracy will be actually the party that claims the most votes on the weekend's elections. Now, does that mean they're going to win it? Absolutely not. There's still a very good chance that they're going to have to come out and appeal to other parties such as the PASIC party to try and get the 151 seats that they're needed. But still, there does seem to be a growing sense that they are going to do quite well, and it doesn't look like Syriza are going to be the first choice in any shape or form. Greek banks last night had a very, very strong day. The banking sector up 20%. Then you can have a look at the CPI figure in the US, which actually fell slightly more than expected. The CPI print's not really one the Fed looks at too closely. They prefer to look at core PCE as opposed to the headline inflation. But that fell more than expected, as did the initial claims, which actually were worse than expected as well. So therefore, people had a sense that perhaps next week the Fed will come out and initiate some sort of rhetoric that we're going to likely see a QE package coming forward. We saw gold rally about $7 straight off the bat on the back of that. Then there does seem to be another rumour going on, or this report coming through Reuters, that the G20 nations, or claiming one of the G20 officials, saying that the G nations are ready to pump up liquidity, perhaps through the different, or taking through the swap lines that are in place at the moment, in case the Greek elections don't go the way that they wanted to. You can mix in stuff that's going on with the Bank of England. They're doing some good things there, where they're looking to offer cheap credit to the banks so that they can try and lend to the real economy. That's a very big positive side of things, and one of the reasons why we like sterling so much relative to some of the other risk currencies at the moment. But all of this coordinated response, I mean, it's all a bit of a pipe dream at the moment. We haven't heard any actual real solid actual evidence this is going to take place. We did see the S&P up 1% off the back of that. It does seem in Asia that we are seeing a little bit of hesitation. People are running a flat book where they can. We are seeing the ASX drift slightly lower. There just really isn't anyone in this market at all. We're seeing about $500,000 worth of volume, which is significantly below where we are usually at this time of day. So it doesn't seem anyone's really buying anything at the moment, and the market just seems to be dropping or fading away as we speak. So yeah, I think everyone's looking at the weekend dramas now. How do you play the election? That's going to be the really important situation. Well, I'll talk about everything in Sydney time here. We had a situation last time on the previous election where the votes finished at 2 o'clock in the morning. We then actually got the first poll coming through at 5 o'clock. By about 8:45 in the morning, we actually started having quite a few of the votes coming through. I think we had about a third of the votes coming through, and by about 3 o'clock we actually saw the full votes coming through. So it's going to be a very long day. We're going to be keeping our eyes very firmly on the polls. As it stands at the moment, we probably suggest that there's not going to be an outright winner. I think that would probably be the market's favourite right now. If New Democracy do poll very well, if they get a full outright majority, which is a probability, but it's probably a low one, the markets will celebrate and we'll see a massive spike up in risk assets on Monday morning. What we're likely to see, though, is New Democracy doing very well, not getting quite the majority they need to form a full government. The President will therefore ask them to go out to other parties, probably PASIC, who have a very similar mantra, pro-bailout, and see if they can get the 151 votes 151 seats needed to claim a majority. If they do, then risk assets like Aussie dollar, like euro, like S&P futures will do very, very well. FTSE out of hours will see some good buying as well. If we do see Syriza winning or claiming the most votes, then certainly you'd probably suggest that there's going to be a bit of a sell-off coming through in risk assets like euro, like Aussie, as I previously mentioned. What the markets really don't want to be seeing is a similar rerun of what we saw on May the 6th, where no party can form a majority. The President, now 3 days later, will ask the Syriza party to try and form a majority. Again, they won't be able to do it. Then they go to PASIC. PASIC can't form a majority, and then we're perhaps going to see a caretaker, a government, and another round of elections, probably sometime in July, early August. That's what the market doesn't want to see. More waiting around, more elections, and there's a very high probability that could come out. But certainly the market's preferred situation would be a straight outright win by the New Democracy Party. Whether that comes to fruition is anyone's game at the moment. My best guess is that we're probably going to see, as I say, New Democracy poll quite well. And then the government or the president will ask them to try and form a government, and hopefully they'll go to PASIC and get enough votes. The market should like that. But as it stands, you've still got the FOMC next week, and you've still got the G20 to contend with as well. So, the risk appetite seems to be sort of all over the place, and volumes are pretty low.